What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Spoiler Alert for Gears of War 4. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Richard Bailey Jr.
Yeah, what's up, people?
and Reggie Butler.
What's up, gamers?
Yeah. Yo, it's funny, right? We got Gears of War 4. There's only 3 niggas in this fucking room right now.
Yeah, man.
You know, it's all good. So yeah, this game, man, this is probably like Microsoft's biggest game of the year, right? We had to talk about it. We actually all beat it fairly quickly. You know, Rich, I know you beat it last week because you got the review copy and stuff. You got the review up there, excellent review and stuff. And we got to talk about this game, man, because there's a lot of shit to talk about. I know Reggie's really ready to talk about this shit, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So as always, you know, with spoiler, we give you our quick little thought and then we go deeper into it. So I thought the overall game was excellent. Like, you know, you had the coalition, not us, you know, the other coalition, those other guys, you know, they did the game, you know, and we were like, yo, is this going to be another Halo situation with 343 where they kind of dropped the ball? But no, man, to me, these guys, they did it, man. They grabbed that ball and ran and did the touchdown. It's fucking fantastic, man. I loved it. I like the characters, the story, the graphics, all that shit was crisp, man. Loved it, you know. So that's my quick thought there. Rich, what's your quick thought on Gears of War 4?
Yeah, I like the passing of the torch storyline. Yeah, I thought that was good, but I also think the coalition, they probably played things very, very safe. So I'll be curious to see what they do next. But for what it's worth, it was an excellent experience. I have to give them props for that.
All right, and Reggie, quick thoughts.
My thoughts are pretty much on line with what Richard said. But to add to that, to them playing it, I thinking that they're playing a little bit too safe. I think that they almost made a for coming into the franchise.
Yeah, I could agree with that. You know, all right, so yeah, let's get into it. So the game takes place 25 years after Gears of War 3, right? You know, they had the big final battle with the Horde and all that. They won, and now humanity was able to rebuild society. That's what they've been doing for 25 years, right? And what's interesting about this game was the way it started. No Gears of War game ever had like a prologue before, right? This was the first one. They ran you through the I keep forgetting the name of the war. It was the war that they were having right before the Horde War, right? It was one where humans were fighting against each other for emulsion and stuff, right? And it was Marcus's Phoenix father's side. They won because they used the Hammer of Dawn on their enemies for the first time, right? So they showed you a little bit of that, which is pretty cool. And then after that, they showed you the very end of the Horde War, right? I don't know if is that the official name of it in the game, like the Horde War? That's just what I've been calling it. But anyway, the Horde War, you got to see the ending of that, like where that Ray comes and like cleanses all the Horde and shit. That was really dope. And then you finally get to meet the new protagonist, right? We're still playing a Phoenix in this game. It's just Marcus Phoenix's son, JD, which is James Dominic, you know, Phoenix. I love that because James is his father's name, right? And then Dominic, obviously, shout out to Dom, you know, rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? That's my dude right there, Dom, man. The only like I don't know what nationality he was exactly, but in my heart, he's Dominican. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, so you pick up with new characters. You have my man JD. You have his friend Dell. I think his name was. What was his name again?
Yeah. Dell.
Who's Dell, right? Like the computers, right? Dell computers. And then homegirl Kate. So what happened is it was very interesting because he used to be part of the COG, right? But now him and his boy, they descended because I guess the government's kind of fucked up and they're doing raids and shit. But when they go on this one particular raid, the COGs come at him kind of heavier than usual, you know? So what did you guys think of, like, you know, just the way JD Phoenix and his people were introduced?
I'm gonna let Rich take this one first, man.
All right, so you know, I mean, I know that, like you said, there was an incident that happened that led to them getting kicked out of the COG. I definitely wanted them to explore that further because we don't really get any context. You're thrown into the beginning of them already doing this raid. Outside of that, I don't have a problem with the characters. I like the chemistry that they had. I'm glad that the Coalition decided to use these robots called the DBs as a new villain because, you know, I guess they had to try to change up the experience one way or another. But there was a little bit of confusion in the beginning, but I think it eventually, it made sense after a while. The leader, I was a little confused about the person who was leading that actual group, because isn't that the same Senate person that's talking at the very beginning?
That is the one that was giving the history speech. Yeah, that was her. I forgot her name, but yeah, it is her. I guess she's like Jen. Yeah. Like she was very weird. Like she was there on the field, but she wasn't, because she was like a robot, hologram or whatever, But I agree with you on that. It's like the game never actually goes into why they left the cog at all, which is very interesting. I'm hoping they could cover that in another game, but not at all. It's just like, okay, we left the cog. They're assholes. That's all you got, basically.
Yeah, because I feel like the motivations, mainly with a game of this caliber, like in the first 3 games, especially in the first one, there was a rhyme to the reason, right? You knew why you were doing it, and they introduced the characters along the way, and you felt their presence. And I think that in between the prologue to the game, and that they could have did a segue, into the reason. That would have been a good point right there to fit in. Okay, this is why they got kicked out, or show you something egregious that happened. Okay, now they're on the outskirts, and then that would have made it feel a little bit more weight on more meat on the bones, I guess.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. But, but I guess they just wanted to jump us into the story real quick, and I want to jump into the whole, because obviously you have to fight the cog, but you're not fighting humans, you're fighting robots. I thought that was kind of cool. I'm like, yo, you never fought robots in Gears of War. You're always fighting monsters,
Right.
So I thought that was pretty fun, like fighting the robots and stuff.
Yeah, I thought the DBs they were pretty cool. I wish they would have took more like risk with them, like do some type of Transformer style things with them. You know what I'm saying? Like have different various types. But I mean, I like the way how when the plane comes along, they drops them off, and they drop in the pods, and the pods open up, and rise up. I mean, I like that. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it, because every time the pods hit, they don't just drop straight. They like careen through everything, I thought that was pretty dope. But I could see what you're trying to say. It's like the robots were just basically like humans, they didn't really do anything too crazy, but I guess, like you said, they're trying to make it seem familiar. They don't want to go too crazy. I didn't mind that, but at the same time, I see what you're saying though, but I just like shooting robots in the head. That never gets boring. That's fun to me. So yeah, Rich, what'd you think of the DBs, as they call them? And we're going to talk about later what DB stands for.
Oh yeah.
We definitely got to do that. I mean, I pretty much agree with both of you guys. They probably could have did a little bit more with them, but I know they tried to keep it simple, because as you said, we don't normally get the robots in these Gears games. But they also had them in there so that they could introduce the new weapons, and I very much enjoyed the new weapons that they did have.
Ah, yes.
I got an issue with one of them though, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh yeah,
because we're talking about gameplay too, people, and everything tonight. Okay, what new weapon did they introduce that you like, Rich?
Man, let me think about that. I'm trying to remember the names, because you did say I did play this game a little bit earlier than everybody, so I haven't spent too much time after that. I mean, I'm going back for Horde, but I believe what's the name of that shotgun weapon? The double.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, you talking about the It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't.
Yeah, I just call that shit the super. I just call it the super shotgun.
Yeah, it's like
because it shoots like
when you pull the trigger, it shoots twice.
Yeah, that shit is nuts, man. I was fucking those robots up with that shit. I got that. I'm like, come here, man. Let's go, pat, 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 pat.
Yeah.
Yo, you know what I like to? So we're talking about mechanics. I like the new cover mechanic where like there's another guy on the other side of you, right? You could grab him. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, you can snatch him. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, hello, very different. Hello, little one. How you doing? Yeah, homegirl just showed up. How you doing, sweetie? Yo, for you guys listening, Reggie's daughter just came into the room, son. But yeah, that shotgun, man, that was good, man. I like that a lot. So yeah, after that, that little intro and stuff, you get to meet a certain other character from Gears of War. You know what I'm saying? The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Marcus Phoenix. And it's funny because Marcus was older, but he seems still the same dude. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't really change that much. Like I would say he was surlier, but he was always surly, he was always pissed off. So that ain't nothing new. But I kind of enjoyed seeing like I'm calling him old man Phoenix, like old man Logan, old man Phoenix. So Rich, what would you think of the way Marcus Phoenix was introduced in this game? My man was just chilling in the chair waiting,
Yeah. I think you said, hello, James. Yeah. Yeah, I love old man Phoenix. I think that they had to have some character in there that you knew, because I know that was a question that a lot of people asked before we even saw Marcus Phoenix. Will he be in Gears of War 4? So, yeah, I mean, I like old man Phoenix. I do have a criticism, but I'm gonna let Reggie go first, and then I'll say what my criticism is.
Yeah, Reggie, what do you think of old man Phoenix, the way he was introduced and all that?
I think I'm gonna just be brutally honest. I think the introduction could have been presented a whole lot better of Marcus Phoenix. I don't want to do a comparison to any type of one game because we're only talking about Gears of War. But after I saw that scene, or after I played through it, and I was getting ready to lay down for the night, I was watching E3 2016, and the presentation where they showed Kratos come out right on God of War. I was like, yo, I felt that. But with Marcus Phoenix, I just kind of find it, okay, yeah, we knew he was looking at the camera, but it's like, I just find it hard to believe that you're just going to be sitting here in this chair. It's like you were expecting your son to come the whole time. Like I felt like it could have been like a grander type of thing. We could have see how he was in his natural environment, like have him in the, doing this thing with his tomatoes and stuff, and this is Marcus Phoenix, man. I mean, this is like one of your like iconic characters in Microsoft stable. Like he deserves a big introduction. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, well, I thought he should have died too. I'm just leave it at that. Yeah, I think he should die. Like seriously.
Oh yeah, well, I'm not sure if you wanted to discuss that yet, but I do have a couple.
We gonna get to that.
We can jump around a little bit. It's all right, but I don't know, because to me, I kind of like the fact that the way he was introduced was kind of more subdued, But to me, I still felt like, oh shit, it's my man Marcus Phoenix just chilling in the chair. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt it. To me, it just seems like, okay, this dude, he's had a long day, right? He's in his rocking chair. The chair is in his exact spot. You know what I'm saying? Just in case danger comes. There's no Marcus Phoenix. He wants to be ready, so he's just chilling. He didn't know his son was coming, but I'm pretty sure he heard him coming. So like, all right. Yeah, I guess he's coming. I'm just chill right here, But I like that because, and it's also a little bit of a callback to when we first met Marcus Phoenix. What was he doing? He was sitting in a cell, like doing nothing, So it was a little bit of a callback to that, But again, to me, like I understand what you're saying with comparison to Kratos, like seeing him just come out of that shadow, like beard first, that shit was crazy epic. But I still enjoyed seeing Marcus Phoenix just pop up like that for the first time. But yeah, I'm gonna skip around a little bit since you obviously want to get to it now, because in the trailer, right? Yeah. No, we could get to it because in the trailer,
okay.
Right? Yeah, because in the trailer, you saw him quote unquote getting killed, right? People were getting pissed off about that, but it turns out, he
got snatched.
He got snatched, and I like that scene a lot because here's the thing. I want to scale it back a little bit. One of the reasons I liked Gears of War 1 more than the other ones, right, is because I like that horror element that the first game had. Gears of War 2 and 3 didn't have any horror at all. It was just straight up action, right? Yes, that's right. The first game had horror, right? And this game brought that shit back. When they were in that barn, like in their village and people were getting snatched, I'm like, yo, this is crazy right now. And I like the way they framed it because you saw monsters in the periphery, but you didn't see them. Like an old horror movie.
Right.
I love the way they shot that. And then obviously when Marcus Phoenix comes in, you see the monster in his full glory and stuff. But to me, like when he got snatched and shit, I was like, yo, this is like terrifying right now. This is crazy. I love the way that. And the thing is, the game never lets up on that. Like it always kind of has that horror in it. No matter what. I really enjoy that aspect. But yeah, a lot of people thought Marcus Phoenix was killed, but no, he was just snatched away. And then we find out what's really going on. Like these monsters are back and they're snatching up all the people because no surprise here. This is part of what you were talking about, Richard, playing it safe. Guess who's back as the main enemy? The fucking Horde. They're back, but in a different way. They were like crystallized for a while and shit, and now they came back.
The Locust,
I call it the Horde. My bad. The Locust. I keep calling because the Locusts are a Horde. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then
in Horde mode. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what they call these guys? The Swarm. I'm like, wait, that's just a different way of saying Horde and Locust. It's the same shit.
Actually, I like the Swarm better because it was kind of like, okay, these are a group of guys, a group of soldier characters. They had never seen this before, so they call them the Swarm. Because think about it, they swarmed in on their village.
That makes sense.
I thought,
you know what that is like? It's like obviously we all know Walking Dead, right? Every time they meet a different group of people, they don't call them. One group calls them walkers, the other one calls them like ramblers or whatever, biters. Everybody has their names. Yeah, so I like that. But at the same time, I'm like, yo, guys, Swarm, Locust is the same fucking name. Horde, it's all the same shit. But at the same time, I did enjoy, shooting the Horde again. The Locust again. It was cool. Even what's his face when our boy, I'm forgetting his name now. The black dude,
Coltrane.
He was like, Coltrane. He was like, I kind of miss shooting these guys. Like, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Coltrane. We'll talk about Coltrane a little bit, but yeah, what you guys think when you saw the Horde again or the Locust again for the first time? Because to me, I was like, at one point, I'm like, okay, that's cool. The back at the other time is like, really? Like these motherfuckers again? Like I had conflicting emotions there,
I felt the latter of what you just stated. That I wanted there to be a new type of enemy or some type of entity that spawned off from the Locust, right?
Yeah.
So instead of calling, I still like the name the Swarm, but it's kind of like one of those things where like they have to. I guess for me, I want the enemies in the game to live up to the name, right? Or go beyond that, like really, put their stamp down, like this is why, they calling us the Swarm, and I felt like the Coalition, they could have, again, did newer stuff with them. Which they did. They have one cool boss fight that we're not talking about just yet. We'll get to it. And I thought it was pretty interesting because I was so confused for like 30 minutes. I was like, what's going on? Like, I was like that. But I didn't really miss them like that. I just wanted to see, what it could do that was new, based on what they showed us in the E3 trailer 2 years ago when they first showed Gears of War, and they had the Snatcher, the Pouncer. Yeah, I was like, okay, this is a different look. Let's see where they go with this. I was thinking, but it kind of went back toward the same line, so to speak.
Yeah, but here's the thing. And this is another thing the game doesn't like explain very well, right? Because those pouncers and the snatchers, they don't look like locust creatures. You know what I mean?
They're totally different. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, what's going on? And then all those tendrils and shit they had going on. I'm like, okay, that is not the locust. That is a different species. But they never get into that, I don't understand that. But yeah, Rich, what was your reaction to seeing the locust once again?
Yeah, I believe you when you just took the words out my mouth when you said there wasn't really. I don't think they really did a good job explaining that connection. I know they had the instances where they kept finding signs that it was the locusts that were involved. And that's fine, but yeah, then you probably needed to explain that. I'm assuming that will be saved for the next game, as to let you know why. Because when you get to the end of the game, Marcus Phoenix says, "Well, this isn't over," and I'm thinking to myself, "Well, yeah, it's not over, but what is the indication that lets me know it's not over?" Because
Right.
they killed the boss at the end, and then I'm like, okay, so how is this still going on? But I did like the swarm. I like the pouncers, the different types of creatures that they did introduce. But I'm very
Right.
curious to see how it's all connected.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. Cause I'm like, I don't get it. It's like it seemed like they were going to tell you, like, oh, this is a brand new species to the planet.
Right.
None of that.
Right. And I also like those enemies where I forgot what act you see them in, but they kind of they're inside those little jelly donut looking things.
Oh, you mean the fucking I know what you're talking about, the
Yeah, and they jump out. They're kind of cute in an ugly way.
Yeah, the juvies.
The juvies. Let's talk about the juvies. I absolutely yeah, the juvies, yeah. I hated those fucking things. They were the most annoying enemy, man. Because every time I'm in cover and shit, I'm trying to focus on the grunts or whatever they call them. These guys would just like knock me out of cover and stuff. I'm like, come on, man, you guys are annoying. Then trying to shoot them is hard too because they gang up on you and
they move so quick.
Yeah, I didn't like the juvies. I didn't mind them in certain points, but they got to be too much, like they're always throwing them in. They were like a worse version of those little monkey things from the other games, whatever the fuck. You guys know what I'm talking about. They serve the same basic function. They were just slower.
Yeah.
But it's like, come on, man, this is bullshit all the time, but what's interesting, the juvies, they grew up to be the I forgot what they call them in the fucking game, but basically the full grown versions, and then I did find it kind of corny though, where it's like the dude, becomes mad big and he's like, hey, I know how to shoot a gun now. It's like, really?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. You know how to go into cover now and everything, military tactics and shit.
Yeah. Then you had the Scions. And I was like, okay, somebody been watching they've been playing a lot of Destiny here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, man, those motherfuckers, those guys take a lot of hits, man.
Yeah, they got on my nerves though, man. I was like, oh my god, come on, guys, go down.
Yeah, but especially the Scions. I used that one drill weapon. We could talk about that real quick. That drill weapon. Okay, not only did I not like. Throw. Yeah, I didn't like that because I didn't know how to use the fucking thing. I could never name it right, and then it would always knock me out of cover too. It was pissing me off.
Yeah, it's like when you aim it, you gotta when you shoot it, you hold the trigger, and when you let it go to whatever target you want to get to, that's when it goes down and it blows up. And you can even do it to where, let's say, like you see an enemy, whatever, or kind of like I would say about 50 to 100 yards away from you, whatever, and when you shoot it, right, if you can line it up to where the character's at, it can drill in them and blow them up from the inside out.
See, but every time I try to do that, I would always go behind them. It's like, come on, man. I kept fucking up. And then the thing is, if they do that to you, that's an instant kill. Instant kill.
Yeah.
So that shit was fucked up.
Yeah. But the weapon I hate the most.
Uh-oh.
That saw gun, man. That saw gun. I cannot stand that thing. In my opinion, I think it was a weapon that was not needed. That's just my personal opinion.
Why is that? What specifically do you not like about it?
Well, okay, I know it's supposed to ricochet and bounce all over the place or whatever, but in certain situations, like if you're behind cover, right, and this ain't even dealing with the wind flares or anything like that, but and you're shooting this big gun, and sometimes the blade would bounce off of the cover. Wait, there's no invisible wall here. I'm looking dead at the enemy. Like, why? Sometimes it would happen. That was my experience with it. So I didn't really use it as much. And then when I did get a kill with it, it didn't feel like real satisfying to me. I was like, okay,
that's interesting. I didn't use it that much, but when I did use it, I thought it was pretty effective. But the thing is, like my first instinct was like fire this shit like crazy, right? But the thing is, the blades kept coming back at me. It's like, okay, I gotta be more strategic with this shit, But
right.
I did use it to, like, when there was an enemy behind cover, I just shoot the shit behind it, and it would like chop his head off. I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't have a problem with it, but I do want to touch on something you mentioned though, because the game, like, okay, here's something like Gears of War. I said this on Throwdown. I'm gonna say it again here. Every game except for 3 has a specific like environmental hazard that is unique to that game, right? First game had, I call them the actual swarm, those bugs and shit that if you sat
and the ones that's in the dark.
Yeah. So in Gears of War 2, they had that metallic rain and shit, and in this one they have those lightning storms. That shit was fucking crazy. That's an instant kill too if you stay out there too long. And Rich, I know you like those a lot, right?
Oh yeah, I wasn't expecting that. The lightning storms and the wind flares, because they had a couple of instances where you're shooting against the enemies, and you shoot them, and they fly right off into the storm, which I thought was cool. So
and you can shoot at the parts of the environment to kill waves of enemies if you wanted to. I thought that was pretty smart.
Yeah, there was this one part like near the end of the game, right, where you have to use one of the catapults again, and they were like, okay, you gotta hit that thing with a catapult, right? But the thing is, there's a storm going on, right? So when you aim it normally, and your fucking ball just goes in another direction. So you actually had to aim it a specific angle, right? So the ball would curve
around. Yeah, aim it to the right.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, this shit is cool. I like that. I like the use of physics in this game, because, like you said, whenever you shoot one of the barriers, like all this debris just starts flying everywhere, And I like those scenes where like you would be behind cover, you would shoot something, then you see shit flying right over your head, Like, cool, man. And then when you kill enemies, that as soon as they die, they go flying,
Right.
Yeah, that was awesome.
What do you guys think about the when you first get on the bike?
Ooh, the bike, yo! You know what I want to do, Reggie? I know you feel this. I wanted to watch Akira, son.
Man, listen, man. Look, when they first showed them on the bikes, when he came out the barn with that bike, I forgot. Oh no, where were they at? They was going somewhere, and they busted out because Jen. There's this one scene where Jen has them surrounded, right?
Yeah.
And you're thinking like, man, what they gonna do? They come out with that bike. I'm like, oh man, it's on the cracking now. But here's the issue I had with the bike.
Uh-oh.
Now, this thing is big and bulky. And I'm like, why does it feel like a pinball? Like I'm going for a side. There's no real weight to the bike. And then number 2 is like, the boss that you had to fight, like the big plane or whatever, I was like, okay, look, I get it. This is now the modern day Contra, okay? But don't like it's hard to explain. But I felt like, I'm not saying that the scene was bad, but they could have put some more weight on the bike, and then kind of the parts where you was jumping over, they could have kind of slowed it down, because you want to see this bike. Like me, I like the little small details. Like it's something like dramatic. Like, man, this is Gears of War. Just you want to keep bringing that every time. Like, but it was what it was. I forgot about it 5 minutes after I played it.
That's interesting, because I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
I didn't have that issue with the bike at all. I liked it, but I will say, and I'm going to bring this up now because there's something I'm going to say about the game that's probably going to be very controversial. Right? This game reminded me a lot of Uncharted. There was a lot of action scenes in this shit, like that scene right there with the plane and shit. I'm like, yo, this is straight out of fucking Uncharted right now. I'm trying to drive into the plane. Remember, Uncharted 3 had that exact same thing going on. So I'm like, oh shit, this is like Uncharted, but just manlier because it's Gears of War. But yeah, that's scene, man. I know, Reggie, I disagree with you. I like that shit.
I disagree, man. I mean,
come on, son. There was mad points in this game where they would jump to a certain like platform, it would break, they would hang on. I'm like, okay, I know what you're doing here. You're climbing shit, things are falling everywhere. They got the witty banner going on. I'm like, this is some Uncharted shit right now. So,
okay. I mean, as far as the banner,
War game was like that before,
Right, I know, I understand that, but with the banter, I'll give them an A for effort, but right now, if I'm comparing the banter to another Gears of War game, I would say with me the first one, they really had a lot of banter that made sense and it was funny. Um, and the others, Gears of War 1, Gears 2 and 3 did as well, but in this one, I felt like the banter was kind of off. And like a lot of people, they calling JD as like I guess the Nathan Drake of Gears of War, but
Yeah.
I really don't see. I kind of see the comparison, but nobody's going to do it like I forgot his name. Yeah, nobody's going to do it like him. You know what I'm saying? As far as I'm not saying that the bike scene is bad. And I don't want nobody that's watching this to take this and say, okay, I'm down in the game. No, I genuinely like the game. Like, look, I got the early access version, but I didn't pay $100. I didn't pay $100 for it.
Reggie, Reggie got connections.
No, I went to Amazon. It was like $20 cheaper.
Oh shit, that's cool.
Yeah. But and I would highly recommend the game to anybody, right? So don't let our opinions sway you one or the other. If you got Xbox One or Xbox One S, please play this game, especially on PC.
Say that for the end of the show. But
okay,
I want to talk to you about this though, because like it's not like it needs to be exactly like a comparison to Uncharted, but
right.
I would say it's in the spirit of that, because this game, even though, like I said before, it brought back a lot of the horror elements, it was also, to me, the funniest Gears of War because of the banter between JD and Dell specifically. Like, the shit Dell would say was cracking me up. I
thought the jokes were bad.
Nah, I thought they were funny. I was laughing the whole. I'm actually laughing during a Gears of War game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought they were good. I liked it, especially like the shit. Like I said, my man Del was saying, like he would always say the shit I would think, and that's another trait of Uncharted. Like Nathan Drake would say the shit I'm thinking. Del was saying the shit I was thinking. He's like, hey, clear. It's like, how do you know we're clear? You keep saying we're all clear, and every time you say that shit, it's not clear. It's like, yes, man.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it is. I don't know. I felt like Del. He's He's a cool black character, but he is nothing like Coltrane. There's no comparison.
Different kind of character, like Coltrane.
Yeah, but Coltrane was that soul, like that black exposition era type. Yo, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you that. Hey.
Well, this is like he's the modern day black man. He's not 70s black man. Coltrane, baby, like he's not doing that shit.
Yeah, I understand. Hey,
by the way, talking about that, I did like the fact, even though I liked the characters from the first game, obviously, I will admit that they all sounded very cartoonish, like you could tell they were all doing voices. Like these guys, they were just talking normal, except for the main JD guy. He actually has an Australian accent, right? But
right,
talking like normal people, like they're like get behind cover, reload. They were like, behind cover, reload. Yeah, they were talking like that. They were talking like fucking wrestlers and shit.
Right.
But it took me a little while to get used to, like, oh, these guys are just talking like regular people now. They're not like just going crazy, they're not like, like to me, Gears of War, right? Especially the first game was like the video game equivalent of the handshake scene from Predator, right? The most manly shit possible. This one toned it back a little bit. It was a little bit more realistic, like a part of me misses that a little bit, like that machismo shit. But at the same time, I understand it's 2016. You can't be doing that kind of shit anymore. You got to scale it back a little,
Right. And even I felt like, in my opinion, I felt the jokes were bad, but the conversations that we have, it made it more grounded in reality, right? Because you kind of get the perspective through their eyes of how things are going. Now, they could have did something a little bit different, but Rich know what I'm talking about, but we'll get to that when the time comes.
I mean, you want to get to it now?
No, because we gotta. There's so much to talk about. Okay, let me ask y'all guys this: what do you guys think about Jen? Do y'all think she's like I guess, an evil protagonist, or because that's the way they was portraying in the beginning, but then later on, it's like she really like nah. Like I didn't feel like I didn't feel like to get that evil vibe from her.
I don't think she's supposed to be evil. I think she's just doing her job. Remember, in her eyes, JD and his friends were responsible for kidnapping a bunch of cogs. Right. Obviously,
Right.
by the end of the game, she found out, oh, that's not the case. So I think when Gears of War 5 comes out, she's gonna actually be helping you. So she's not supposed to be like an evil villain. She was just an antagonist in this episode. You know what I'm saying? That's all it was. Like, don't see her as like a villain. She's not a villain at all. She's trying to do the best by her people, as far as we know right now. So I wasn't like looking for like a main villain, but at the same time, because this is what I predicted was going to happen, right? Because they kidnapped, Kate's mother, right? For some reason, remember, they pretty much killed everybody else, but they kept her. I thought they were going to make her the new Locust Queen. That's what I thought was going to happen. Because remember, this is something Gears of War never answered. Why does the Locust Queen look like a human? They never answer that shit. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they answer that.
You're right.
Okay. That's me and Richard talked about this 2 days ago. That's the thing I have an issue with. Where I said in the beginning that there was some missteps that I thought that should have been brought to the forefront in this game. Because for me, when I got to the end of the game, right, and Marcus Phoenix says, this isn't over. And Kate comes out of the cave after she kills her mother, or because we never really see it.
Yeah.
Now, and then she says, well, she pulls out this charm and says that it belongs to my grandmother. I never knew her. So I'm looking at this thing, I'm like, okay, what happened? Like, did I miss something? So I'm thinking back, I was like, I've never seen that before. And they've never, at least in my recollection, they've never really talked about or made that symbol actually prominent other than, okay, you go to multiplayer, you see the locust emblem, but you would never think to put, okay, I'm going to put 2 and 2 together, right? Because I don't think they never really brought any lore to that, right? Well, outside the context of, the locust or whatever, right? And so I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, okay. I was like, please, for the love of God, after these end credits, they better explain something. Like the post-credit scene, and I was like, okay, what just happened? And I was really pissed. The next day, I found out what happened because I went to I was going to trade some games in that GameStop. That's a bad word, I know that. But what happened? And the guy was telling me, well, he said that crest, that's the locust emblem. So what you said, you like how you think she's going to be the locust queen or the new locust queen?
Yeah.
That could very actually happen. But or he feels like Kate may be taken and she becomes the heir to the throne, so to speak. But I'm like, okay, as a coalition, they could have did a better job of bringing this to the forefront somehow to really drive it home that, okay, this is the reason why you need to be excited for the next iteration, the next game in this franchise. But I felt like they took a misstep with that because you got newer players that's coming and playing Gears of War. Like we grew up with Gears of War. You got kids now that had this is probably their first Gears of War game they ever played, even though the original 4 or 3, well 4 because you got to count Judgment in there.
Yeah,
it already came out, right? And that's the thing I have an issue with. And I felt like, even in the single player, because I know in the drop in dropout co-op, you could play as Kate, right? But they should have had the scene single player wise where you play as Kate to make that moment feel more real. It shouldn't have been a cut scene, or it could have been a cut scene, but with you doing the actual actions. So it's like, I'll give you a prime example in The Last of Us, when Naughty Dog told you was never ever going to play as Ellie in the game. Lo and behold, when Joel got in, he got hurt, right? And the scene fades out or whatever. Next thing you know, it's winter, and you're playing Ellie. So when it went down in the end, you felt what was going on because you actually had a bond with that character. That's the issue I have with this game. That scene really didn't resonate with me because of some information I didn't know that wasn't actually pronounced in the first 3 games. I could be wrong. You guys can correct me, but that's just the way I feel about it.
See, it's funny you say that because just this chat we're having right now actually just got me more excited for the next game because I didn't know that crest was a locust crest. So it's already telling me, like something basic. Basically, her grandmother was probably the locust queen. Yo, right. If that's the case, this new trilogy is gonna be fucking crazy because that means they have the bloodline, right? That means Kate could be the new locust queen too. Okay, I'm done right now. Like, okay, I'm done.
But see, that's the thing. It's like
crazy, man.
But see, I mean,
just stop. Just think about that. The new character in this game is related to the motherfucking locust queen. We're gonna finally find out why these women look like humans and not monsters. That is crazy to me, man. And again, jumping in, this is why I like Gears of War 4 so much. I like the fact that they don't give you too much because this is a new trilogy. You don't need to say everything in the first game. Spread that shit out. I like that because now it's giving you little juices to like latch onto, like an old school comic book. They used to give you little hints and shit that would pay off later, So if this shit pays off, forget about it. I'm losing my mind right now. Just like my man, our gamer, me and this dude, we talked to each other for like an hour yesterday about this shit. It's in our minds,
Yeah, but see, I even told Hip Hop Gamer that because we had a long conversation about it, right?
Yeah.
And the same night I talked to Rich, I was talking to Hip Hop Gamer that day, and I was like, dude, like, no, I was so pissed. I called him. I was like, dude, no, nah, man, nah. He was on the phone when I beat the game.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, no, I'm not getting it. I'm not feeling it. But it shouldn't have to be, okay, I got to find out for somebody else to figure out, okay, this is what it was. I have no idea. So you mean, I understand that you start a new trilogy, right? But there got to be, you got to have that connection. You got to.
They're trying to make it right now, dude. They're making it right now. They're connecting this game to the other game with that little emblem. That's a connection right there.
Right, but think about new generation of players coming in that don't know that. Like, they just don't know. So they could probably feel like me, like, what's that?
Yeah, no, I understand, but at the same time, let's just say this is the first Gears of War game, right? And they're never going to play any of the other Gears of War game. That's going to be explained in the next game or the name game after that. Understand? It's a little hint of things to come. You can't just wait for them to give you everything in the first game. You got to let them take their time with it,
Well, I mean, and there are other little secrets in this game.
Microsoft is giving the games away for free now. If you buy Gears of War, you get all those games now for free. So you kind of don't have that excuse either, But think about it. I played all 3 games. I didn't know that fucking emblem meant that shit. And I'm just hearing that. I'm getting hyped up. That's crazy. That actually already I like this game already. It already made the game even better just talking about that shit. So I'm happy about that. But I want to jump to probably my favorite part of the entire game because I saw something in the trailer, but I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna let you do that. They let you pilot mechs.
Oh,
That's it. That's it. Man, man, are you kidding me right now? Reggie, I love mechs, man.
I know, man.
I got to pilot these motherfuckers.
Dude, when I got to know mechs, man, I was like, oh snap. But did you know there's an Easter egg when you get into mechs?
Oh, what's the Easter egg?
Okay, so when Coltrane, like, he comes in the helicopter or whatever. Well, you see him, but he's gonna get in the helicopter, right? And you get in the mechs. Okay. One part in that scene where I forgot. I think it's after you break down the wall. I gotta look for it. It's online. You can kick. There's a car on the left hand side, right?
Yeah.
You can kick that car, and it goes into a makeshift goalpost. So if you remember in Gears of War 3, how Cole got his moment, and he was doing like the little rap or whatever. Yeah. That the fireworks start coming out, and it does a little rap song in that scene.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking cool, man. And then also there is an Easter egg, but I think you have to be on Insane. There's a couple Easter eggs in the game. I think you got to be on Insane to find this one. So when you go to when you meet Marcus Phoenix for the first time and you escape and you're going out the back or whatever to the barn,
Yeah.
there's a grave site.
I got something to say about that.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
With Anya's name on it. Probably the most heartfelt scene in the game with no words. And I wanted more of that. Like,
so,
that was the best.
Yeah, go ahead, Rich.
So I got a comment to say about that because I actually, when I played the game, when I reviewed the game, you know, and this is full disclosure, Microsoft, when they sent the embargo, they said you cannot talk about certain things. They said you can't talk about what happens to Anya, you can't talk about what happens to Marcus, all this other stuff. But yeah, you can actually get this on any mode. It's just you have to, because I did some searching before because I was looking for the collectibles. Yeah, but pretty much, yeah, that scene was very, very heartfelt, very emotional. And you know, one of the criticisms I had is because we don't really ever find out what happened to her.
Exactly.
That's true.
We also don't find out, you know, what is the cause of the relationship that Marcus has with his son, because you know that they're always butting heads.
Yeah, why they so disgruntled? Like,
yeah, and I figured, you know, maybe it was because of what happened with the COG, how you know this guy decided to leave the COG and go off and do his own thing. But I thought there was more to that because, you know, they did have a conversation where, you know, as when they do reunite and they're walking through, he's asking them, well, why didn't you ever keep up the grave site? And he just says, hey, I've always visited the grave site, but you know, it's done and over with. So I wanted more context just to find out what happened to her, but we don't ever get that.
Right. And that's where, you know, also along with that, you know, what we said is, me and Rich said that they kind of played it safe. I think they really played it safe in the story too, because you're not looking at it like this. Okay, this is Gears of War returning to form, right? The game that we know and love. We've seen it. It's the first game on the next gen or now current gen console, right? And I mean, you want to bring it. You know, I mean, if you think about other games that have come out before, I mean, we can go to the Naughty Dog game, especially with The Last of Us. There was so much meat and potatoes in there. You know, all the stuff that happened in Uncharted. You know, in other games too, it's like, man, you know, the story. I'm a big story person. I need. It's like that's the motivator, right? Like I want to feel what you're feeling on the screen, but if you don't tell me, it's like, oh, it's just an afterthought.
Yeah,
that's interesting. But yeah, you know, I want to go back a little bit because you know there's a certain point in the game, right? Actually, going back further because you know every game, well, not every game, but most of the Gears of War games have had horde mode, right? This one was the first one that actually incorporated horde mode into the actual single player. I thought that was pretty interesting, right? And then during the last horde mode in the game, right after that, you get to meet a certain character. You know, actually two characters. Damon Baird, right? And
DB.
Damon Baird. He's the one that created the robots. How crazy is that? You know?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You know, I like that because Close Baird was always like the tech guy, you know, and you really get to see that come through. And he was like, "Hey, man, they're doing shit I don't want them to do," you know.
Yeah. And I like how they made him age well too. I really like his presence when he came. Cole. He's still cold, but
he's still cold. He's still cold.
Yeah, but when Beard came on the scene, I was like, man, that character model actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, I like that. You know, I think they called him Armored Baird for some reason, but
yeah, something like that.
Because I want to talk about the robots again, right? Because I like the fact because in most games when you get to pilot a mech, right? If it's not a mech game and you get to pilot a mech, you usually do it for a little bit, and then like the controls are very different and stuff. This one. Not only do you do it for 2 full chapters, the final 2 chapters of the game, but the robots control just like you normally control. You know, you get to go behind cover and shit. You get to do all this. I'm like, okay, this is dope. And then the thing is, you get to actually fight like they call them Swarm Max now, Brew Max. You know, like money shit. You know, and I like the fact that you could take those big motherfuckers out like nothing. Because remember, during the whole game, if one of those things catches you and your boys don't shoot you out, that's it. You're done.
We got to talk about that. We got to talk about that. The first time you meet the Snatcher, oh my God. Listen, when you get snatched, let me break this down in the context for those that are watching. Listen, You got is JD, which you play, Kate and Dell. Now, imagine you see this thing come out and it's snatching people, right? And you think, oh, I got to shoot at it. Or you think it's going to drop it or whatever. I mean, it will drop it, but the mechanic I love the most is when, okay, if you do not shoot that snatcher in time enough, how they back away and they go back into their hole, the game is over. It took me 30 minutes to figure out what was going on because they will snatch you. And if your AI characters do not shoot the snatcher, it's a wrap.
Yep.
It's a wrap, man. I mean, that was the most creative boss battle I'd ever played in my life. Like, I was like, oh crap, this is pretty cool. And it's the way that they show it, because it's like, I mean, this thing is snatching you inside his belly, and you can hear the ambient sounds of the guns and stuff going off, and they trying to shoot you. Oh man, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah,
I really like that.
When I first got into that boss fight, because it takes a little while to actually kill one of those things, right?
Yeah.
I'm there like, yo, this is an easy ass boss fight. Like, that thing is easy to get away from. This is some bullshit, right? And then when it snatched you, I'm like, what can I do? What is going on here? And then, you know, when I found like, oh, they gotta shoot me out. But during that first boss fight, they never ever shot me out. I always got snatched away. So it was like, yo, that's an instant kill. Stay away from that fucking thing.
Yeah.
But then after that, it was interesting. Every time you've had, because it was like 3 boss fights with those things, right? Then they got better at it. Then they would actually shoot you out of it. But for that first one, you were ass out. Unless you were playing co-op, you were ass out. You know?
Well, when I was playing through it in the single player, I just kept hitting A and try to get in. I found that they would shoot a little bit more, or if they were in close proximity. As long as any one of them weren't weak, they would shoot. Okay,
I didn't know that. Yeah. I was like, okay, I'm fucked now.
Now, when you get Marcus Phoenix back, which we're gonna talk about in a minute, it's for y'all. No more than I want to say one person can be down, because if it's 2 are down, that's it. Because one person isn't gonna be able to take them out like that, or to really get you loose. So.
Yeah. Oh, I'm jumping to Marcus Phoenix because I wasn't expecting for him to be in your party. He was there for like half the game, you know. But but again, that goes back to what Richard was saying. I like that because it's a passing of the torch. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you're the new guy, but the old guys there are giving you tips and stuff. And now by the end of the game, I'm pretty sure it's just going to be just the new guys now. You know, because all the old guys are still around, the ones that survived. But it's a good passing of the torch. I wish some other things would have done that. Like Ghostbusters, you know, it's like you have the old guys, you know, it's like, okay, you're the new guys now, you know. But I enjoyed Marcus Phoenix, and again, you know, and I also like the new armor he had. That looked really dope, you know.
Oh, yeah. But when he got snatched, though,
oh shit,
when he got snatched, I was like, my wish might come true.
You want him dead?
I wanted him to die. I wanted them to shake the pillars, like, man, look, I'm serious, man. Nah, because I'm like, okay, you know, with me, I'm like, all right, if Marcus Phoenix died, that means the writers, they got to step their game up, because you know this is new now.
Oh, you wanted a Han Solo moment, right, from the Force Awakens.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, yo, and then when you finally catch up with him, because you're tracking the snatcher the whole time. I mean. And there's a lot of stuff that transpired in between that time. It's like, man, you know, you're going after the snatcher. Plus, before that, Kate's mom got snatched up or kidnapped. And it's like, you know, when you get to that part and you actually find Marcus Phoenix in that pod and you shoot him out, I was like, oh yes, if it's finally happening. I'm about to get my moment. I'm getting my boxes of tissue out. I'm ready to cry, man, tears. And when Dale said, let it go, man, you got to let it go. And he started coughing. I was like, Lord, why this man had to come back to life? That's just my opinion.
That's interesting because to me, it was actually the complete opposite, right? When I saw him laying there, I'm like, you motherfuckers better not kill him in this corny ass way. Like, this is Marcus Phoenix, man. He better not go out like a punk bitch. You know, like, come on, that's a pussy way to die, you know? So hey, like, man, you better not kill him. You better not fucking kill Marcus Phoenix. So when he coughed, I'm like, okay, thank you. Because if he would have died right there, I would have hated on this whole game instantly.
I'm gonna tell you why I wouldn't have hated on it, because okay,
Oh,
JD.
okay, here's the thing. I don't mind Marcus Phoenix dying, but that would be a pussy way to die.
I don't
You
know,
just
man.
coughed it, like you drawn to death and there's like fluid. Fuck that.
I mean,
I want
I'm
to die
thinking.
like a man. I want Marcus Phoenix dying, killing a fucking Brumac or something. Like man shit.
I mean,
Getting
I'm thinking.
snatched away like a bitch.
I'm thinking out. I'm thinking outside the box though. Like, okay, Marcus Phoenix gets snatched. You chasing after him. Y'all trying to save him, right? You hear his walkie-talkie going off every now and again, and you get to him. He dies, right? Like he truly dies. And now JD has the weight on his shoulders. Like, okay, this is my motivation. I gotta go in now. There is no turning back. Like when what's my man name in Metal Gear Solid? The line I always quote, the world calls for wet works. That would have been that moment. No just cause, no greater good. That right there.
But that's not really outside the thinking box. That's like every other game and shit. It's like, oh, he died. I gotta avenge him now. It's like, come on, you don't need that shit,
Hey, can you let a brother dream, man?
Like I said, I don't mind them killing Marcus Phoenix. You got to kill him in a better way, not like a punk. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have liked that. So, but Rich, what would you think of all that?
I think that the coalition. I mean, us as well, but I'm talking about the actual people that made the game.
Yeah,
I think they would agree as well that Marcus needs to go out in a better way.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But I do think that they have laid the framework for some people to get killed in the next game because you got to emphasize that this is a bigger threat. And obviously to fully complete the passing of the torch, some people have to get killed from the previous team.
Somebody got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't mind them going. It's just you got to do it in a better way. You can't just have my man just snatch and die like that. Like no dignity. You know what I'm saying? Come on, this is Marcus Phoenix. This is the equivalent of Han Solo. Han Solo went out. You felt that shit. If he would have died right there, I'd be like, come on, what is this shit?
Now, okay. Let's say this, right? Let's say if any of you guys watching, if you're familiar with The Walking Dead, I think it was season 1 or season 2. Sophia went missing.
Yeah, right? That bullshit, man.
And when she came out that barn, dude, I cried. Man, tears. Like hard. I pressed pause on Netflix. I was done for that day. I couldn't take it. I could not take it, right? What if Marcus Phoenix would have came back as a locust?
Oh, shit.
And you see what I'm saying?
That'd be interesting.
I wouldn't mind that, but I just wouldn't like him dying in that stupid pod. That's what I wouldn't want.
Yeah, he woke up. I'm infected, and then he was coughing. Yeah, some of them scenes, so he might not be all right. It might be a Stranger Things type of thing.
Who knows, man? But I think that he probably will end up dying. But I want him to be in the most epic fucking way possible, explosions and blood and shit. That's what I want. You know what I'm saying, man? I want some shit. But yeah, I think we pretty much said what we needed to say about like the main game. Like we don't really talk about horde mode or multiplayer or anything like that, But yeah, to me, this is my final verdict. I think this game is fantastic, and I said this on Throwdown. I'm gonna say it again. Very controversial statement. I like this game more than Uncharted 4. I'm not saying it's better than Uncharted 4. I just liked it more. There's a very distinct difference there. As a game, Uncharted 4 is better, right? Objectively speaking, it had a better story, better level design, better enemies, right? Better graphics. Well, except on PC. The PC destroys it, right? But as far as enjoyment goes, I enjoyed this more than Uncharted 4. That's what I'm saying. It's the equivalent of this, because people didn't understand when I said this. The Dark Knight, right? The Dark Knight came out the same year as Iron Man, right? And I told people, Dark Knight is a better movie. I liked Iron Man more. I had more fun with it. Same deal here. I had more fun with Gears of War 4 than I did with Uncharted, because I felt Uncharted had some moments where it dragged. I'm like, I don't want to play this shit. What is this? The Gears of War 4, non-stop. Except for those fucking juvies. Fuck those things. That's the only complaint
I love the juvies. I think they're cute in an ugly type of way.
But they're annoying, man. Fuck those guys, man. But I'll keep it real. I'm a guy who doesn't like melee enemies, as I call them. Uncharted 1, the first Uncharted, right? the part I hated the most was when those fucking zombies come at you. I'm like, what is this shit?
That was the joint when you went around that corner and it was dark and they started running out. Oh my god!
No, I didn't like that. I'm like, what is this shit? You know. But again, I'm not a zombie guy, so that's probably why. You know. But yeah, that's my thought. Gears of War 4, fucking excellent. That's gonna be my top 3 favorite games of 2016 easily. You know, Rich, what are your thoughts?
All right, so I am going to make a controversial statement as well, but I don't really think it's controversial because people know where I stand. Yeah, game was great. There's a couple questions left unanswered. I'm going to assume that they'll address that stuff in the next game, but yeah, fantastic game, and I will say definitely better than I do agree. I don't know if I would agree with the Uncharted because the thing is, I still haven't finished Uncharted 4.
Oh shit.
Oh
but
man!
I will say this: this game is definitely better than Halo 5.
Yes,
the campaign. And I have to say, if I'm a lot more confident in the coalition's ability to handle this franchise than 343 to handle the Halo franchise.
Yeah, that seems to be the consensus with people. It's like a lot of people were kind of let down by Halo 5 story-wise. Like I know, Rich, you're a big Halo guy, and you were very disappointed. Everybody that's played Gears of War, like 4, even Reggie would say, hey, this game is still really good, you know? Like they're not going to say like this game is like with Halo 5 is like, yo, I'm disappointed. That's what people were saying. I don't know. I haven't played myself, but everybody that I know that's a Halo head, they're like, yo, what is this, man? Like these dudes dropped the ball. But Gears heads, they seem to really like this game. They either like it or they love it. There's no like nobody except unless you're a fucking fanboy, no one's hating on this game, you know?
Right.
Yeah, Reggie, final thoughts, brother. Final thoughts.
My feelings on it, like Rich said, we talked about this too. They definitely executed where Halo 5 did not, story-wise, just as the baseline story. Although I have my quirks with the game, I highly, highly, highly recommend picking up Gears of War 4. It's a lot of fun. Regardless of our opinions, we all love the game.
Yes.
It's really good. It's the strongest showing for sequel in the series from an older IP that I think have come out, and that's speaking a lot. You know, Microsoft, they're riding the wave now, and it's a pretty good game. So if you're on the fence about picking up Gears of War, get it. I wouldn't even hesitate. It's a hell of a good time.
I'm gonna say this right now. This is the best Xbox One game ever. I just said it right now.
Well, best Xbox One game. Well, you know what?
Correct. Which one's better?
Yeah. We're gonna say that because next year they're going into a whole nother generation. So.
And that's true with the Scorpio. That's it. You know.
Yeah.
But so, I'm gonna say at this point, Gears of War 4 is the Xbox game to get.
Easily. Yes, and if you have it on PC,
yo, let me tell you right now. Yeah, Reggie's doing the plan right now. Let me tell you right now, guys. This game right here, I was already leaning towards PC gaming. This shit fully made me go over the edge. Holy this is one of the most beautiful looking games I've ever seen in my life. And fun fact for you guys, this is the first AAA game released this generation that uses the Unreal Engine 4, right? We've seen Unreal Engine 4 games, but they've all been indie games. This is the first big deal game, you know? And I would even venture to say that this game does for graphics what the first Gears of War did. Like, it is doing some crazy shit. Remember when the first Gears of War dropped? You're like, what the fuck is this shit? You've never seen anything like that. On the PC Gears of War 4, man, it is on a whole other level, son. It is crazy. You know, get that shit on PC if possible, but even if you get it on Xbox, you're still going to get a really good looking game, really fun game, but on PC, forget about it, son. It's nuts, man.
They really Microsoft really made good on their word after the debacle that was Quantum Break.
I'm gonna stop you. The debacle that was Quantum Break, Gears of War Ultimate, ReCore. They finally started. They got it right with Forza. Forza was a good effort. This is like, yo, if you go into the options, the graphics options, it's like never ending. There's so much shit you could tweak in this game. They really optimize this for PC. It is fantastic, man. Yo, I bought this game. I actually got the game for free because I got a new graphics card because I wanted to play this game at its best. You know, whew, I don't regret that shit. You know,
it's good. It's really good. Really good.
Yeah, Gears of War, man. Fuck it. I cannot wait till fucking Gears of War 5. And since we're talking about Gears of War, I said this, I'll throw it out. I'm gonna say it again, just my prediction. I could be dead ass wrong, but I'm gonna put it out there anyway for the people, right? Because we all know the coalition is not us. The coalition, the developers is the Gears of War company, right? So this is what I suspect, right? You had Gears of War Ultimate last year, right? This year you had, Gears of War 4. Next year, this is where I start going crazy. Next year, you're gonna get hit. You're gonna get Gears of War 2 Ultimate. Year after that, Gears of War 5. The year after that, Gears of War 3 Ultimate. We're gonna get one new game a year.
Yeah,
that's my prediction. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But that's my prediction. Because I think it would be a good way to get all those Gears of War games remastered on PC for the new generation. So that's the bold prediction I'm making right now.
Right.
I don't think they're going to remake Judgment though.
Well, I mean, it might. I mean, I'm replaying Gears of War 1 right now. I was just playing before the spoiler
Gears
cast.
of War 1, man.
And graphic, I was like, oh my god, man, this is such a classic. Like, it's just, I don't know, it brought back a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions. That's the game Xbox for, like Gears of War. I mean, along with other games, because I never just buy a console for one game, but that was the main one, without hands down.
Gears of War, that should define a generation right there. Shit is amazing. Until Call of Duty came out and just fucked everything up, but that's another story for another day. So I think that's pretty much going to do it for us. So thank you for checking out the spoiler alert. Please, again, like Reggie said, buy this fucking game. Buy 2 copies if you have to.
It's awesome. It's an awesome game.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for me. I was Tony Polanco, and Taj joined by Richard Bailey Jr.
Take it easy, everybody. Pick up this game immediately.
Yes, and Reggie Butler.
Pick up the game, y'all. Get it.
All right, people. Peace out.
Peace.